This is episode 4. In this 4th episode, I will be servicing the only property that I've ever allowed the customer to talk my quoted price down. I wanted in this neighborhood. Fortunately, it's all worked out. So let's get to work and talk about it.
I picked up this lawn in May of 2017. This was the first time I ever heard of that app Nextdoor. I'm not on it, but the homeowner said that that's where she got my name. So it turned out that an existing customer had recommended me when this homeowner went on to Nextdoor apparently and said, "Hey, I need a lawn guy. Anybody know anyone?" And I stopped by that day when she called me, and I got the job. I quoted her a number, and she said that she had had a few lawn guys come that quoted her job a price that was $5 cheaper than what I told her. This is a big neighborhood, and I didn't have a single account inside of it, so I bid. I regretted it almost immediately. It's $5, but when you're mowing somebody's yard, 30 plus times a year, it's over $150 that I'm not going to be putting into my pocket just because I said yes. That has since been rectified, thankfully, and because I did get into this neighborhood by taking this account, I've got a few more. So it worked out in the long run, but there were times when I'm edging and trimming all these sidewalks and this circular driveway, and I'm just swearing internally at myself about agreeing to her price. But it is what it is, man. It worked out, and I'm glad I took it. The husband passed, I want to say, year and a half or so after I got the account, and that was right around the time where I was psyching myself up to say, look, I need to get a few more bucks for this property, and I just couldn't do that to her. So I went another year and a half just sucking it up and getting the job done before I told her prices had to go up. And she agreed. She had a funny reaction. She said, I think I can quote verbatim, I think she said, "All right, I'll give it a try." So far, so good. If it was all open turf, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But as you can see, man, as I'm driving around on the mower here, there is just tons of trimming and edging. Not only is there all of this sidewalk and circular driveway to edge and trim, but there are 15 palm trees. And in the backyard, there's 3 really big gardenias that are not shrubs, they're trees. And a couple of crepe myrtles. And a fence line. I don't have to go around the outside of it, with the exception of maybe 25, 30 linear feet. Actually, no, more than that. But anyway, point being, it's a time-consuming property. She's a great payer, on time every time, and that has a lot of value to me too, and it should for you as well. never complains. We get along great. I think she's a realtor. I'm not sure what the husband did. I think he was retired while he was still around. He was a good dude. He came out once every few services just to chat. I hit a sprinkler head here that I wasn't aware that I did it. So it's possible that I didn't. I've hit a handful in 10 years. Not many, but when I do, knock on the door, make a phone call, send a text, let them know. And there have been a few occasions where I'll just fix it on site. I keep heads on the trailer just in case. But he came out to tell me, and I apologized profusely, of course. And she told me don't worry about it. He said he'll call his irrigation guy and have it fixed. I said, well, I can take care of it for you. I can even, exchange a cut or two for the materials and the repair. And he was having none of that, so that meant a lot to me. That was very cool. These beds here, you can see they're all full of sand. They were mulch when I took on the property. I brought it up, but she's just not really interested. I think the sand looks good, to be honest with you. I used to do a property in Ponce Inlet years ago when I worked for another company. And the sand beds are absolutely gorgeous. And it's pretty low maintenance, man, obviously. This is an HOA neighborhood. It hasn't been an issue. In fact, I think it was back last October. That's an airboat. I don't know if you can hear it or not. What was I saying? Yeah, last October. I'm rolling up to service the yard, and this older gentleman walks up to me and says, are you about to cut this yard? And I said, yeah. He hands me his business card. He's the president of the HOA. And there's this area, I'm passing it right now, just to the right there. It's a little overgrown, and it hangs over the sidewalk. And this is one of those things that I'm not going to take the initiative to do it on my own. And I never see her. I could text her to ask her if she wanted me to do anything about it, I suppose, but it's not something I'm going to do for free. But this HOA president says to me, we've had a few complaints from the people who walk and jog and take their dogs out for strolls, who are complaining about all of this. It was like what they call this. The scrubby palm. Saw palmettos that are hanging over the sidewalk. He said, I don't want to send her a letter from the HOA to get this done. He said, I know she's been through a lot. He goes, would you mind taking care of that for me? And I said, look, if you give me 2 or 3 visits to take care of that, I'll spend 5 minutes this visit, 5 minutes the next visit, whatever, and I'll get it done. I said, I'll take care of it, and she doesn't have to know anything about it. And he said, all right, thank you. So the next visit, she was one of only 3 or 4 lawns that I had on the docket that day, so I had plenty of time. So I said, screw it, and I did the whole thing. And I still had his business card. So I sent him an email. I forget his name, but I said, the way that you handled that situation as the HOA president has really softened my opinion on HOAs, because I don't have a high opinion of them at all. And I said, I really appreciate how you handled that. And I said, if you want to take a drive by the property, it's all set and taken care of. And he expressed his appreciation to me, and I don't think my customer knew one way or the other. Hopefully she never got that letter that he said he didn't want to send. So that was cool. This backyard, man, every other visit, it looks like a bird exploded in the backyard. There'll just be feathers everywhere. It's the weirdest thing. And she doesn't have cats that I know of, at least not outdoor ones. She's got one or two of those Lhasa Apso little ankle biter things. But yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. Like I was saying, she's got 15 palm trees scattered throughout the yard. And when I took on the account, that's loud. They were all kinds of neat and trimmed and stuff, and she asked me if I did them, and I hate doing palm trees. I don't mind climbing up ladders, but it's so time consuming, and I really don't get any enjoyment out of it. I'd rather have somebody else went and made that money. I enjoy servicing lawns. I like being a one-trick pony. If I don't have to break out a ladder and it's just a couple of fronds here and there, I'll do it without being asked. But 15 palms, they got to be 30 footers. I'm just not interested. But anyway, she seemed to have stopped, especially after her husband passed, having those trees trimmed. For those of you guys who don't live where there are palm trees, as those fronds die, they just dump debris on the lawn. And it's not stuff that you can just drive over. Some of it, most of it. So that got really annoying, and that was something that also helped convince me that her prices really need to go up, because I'm spending a few minutes every visit picking up some stuff, and you probably noticed me get off my mower a couple of times, and that was picking up palm tree crap. When I filmed this footage, it was a week or two ago, another lawn guy who services a bunch of properties in the neighborhood stopped and talked to me, and I ended up filming our entire conversation by accident. I just didn't shut the camera off. But there's a lot of us that work in this neighborhood. Like I said, it's huge. But it's really, really cool how here in Florida, and I hope it's this way elsewhere, most of these guys, yeah, we're competition, I suppose, but we also seem to have each other's backs and share information and tips and tricks, and there's a camaraderie in this industry that's really appealing to me. I didn't know it was there until I got into it, but I'm happy that it is there. I was gonna go somewhere with that, but I don't know. Hey, shut up, dogs. The 15 palm trees that I keep bringing up, they used to have tree rings around them. It was like little circular beds that were maybe a foot wide around the diameter of the tree, and I let the St. Augustine grass just kind of grow in towards the trees, because before it used to be, I'd have to do an edge and then trim around them, of course, and it was a lot of time added. And because she knocked my price down a little bit, I'm like, I gotta knock some time off of this service. So I let the grass grow, and it took about a season, less than 2, more than 1. And I think it looks better, to be honest with you. But they never said boo to me about it, which is nice. One thing that she did say to me that I liked when she hired me was she asked me if I have a crew, and I said no. She said, "Do you plan on hiring anybody?" I said, "No." She said, when you call my company, you talk to me. Whenever someone shows up to service this property, it's gonna be me. It's always me. And she liked that, and that's the kind of customer that I really want. I want people who value owner-operators, and there's a lot of us in this neighborhood. The grass here now, when I picked up the lawn 5 years ago, it was all really nice St. Augustine. The husband cared for it a lot. He paid attention to the irrigation. They had a FERT and a pest control service. Most of them usually show up bi-monthly down here. But since he passed, there's not much St. Augustine left. Lots of crabgrass. That's why it's as brown as it is, because it's dead or dormant or whatever the hell crabgrass does in the wintertime. It looks beautiful in the summer. It's just it's not St. Augustine anymore. I'm pretty shocked that the HOA isn't busting her chops about it, because there are lots of beautiful lawns in this neighborhood, and this isn't one of them, unfortunately. I do my best with what I got to work with. There's not much in the beds that need to be dealt with. There's a few out of control sago palms that I asked her if she wanted some work done on. She said no. She's got some liriope that's a little overgrown. It's got lots of dead leaves in it, and St. Augustine grass that's vining up through it. That I'll deal with occasionally. I'll spend a few extra minutes if I got them to spare to keep those clean. But other than that, there's not much in the beds at all. It's just a matter of keeping that line defined and the weeds down. And she seems to be happy. In the winter time, like typically November through April, I work on a text me when you need me basis. So her first year with me, she was a little shocked come November when I didn't show up in a 2-week increment. So I explained to her, I said, well, I did a drive-by and it didn't look like it needed it, so I just kept going. And she said, oh, okay, thanks. But she seemed uncomfortable about it. And, the way I try to explain it to folks is, I don't want to waste your money, and I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to put hours on my machines if your lawn doesn't need it. And she sits in a cluster of maybe half a dozen yards that are well cared for and do grow pretty well in the winter here. And most cuts November through April are 2 weeks apart. Sometimes 3 or 4 if we get a couple of good cold snaps or no rain. But I'm in the area every Thursday. So I'll just take a spin by her yard. If it needs it, I cut it. If it doesn't, I don't. And I send her a bill at the end of the month for 1, 2, 3 cuts, however many I do, and that's that. But come April or so, April into May, is when I start taking care of her property bi-weekly, and June through September There's been a year or two there that it was well through October and into November where it was every week. But the grass just stops dead, man, in November, typically every year. Some years it's in October, but it depends on the type of grass, whether it's irrigated, whether it's ferted, all that stuff. So I let the grass tell me when it's ready to stop and get off the schedule and transition into an as needed onto an as needed basis. And this needs a serious pressure washing over here. This is that area the HOA guy was telling me. It's starting to grow over the sidewalk again here. I gotta make sure I keep that dealt with this coming season. I'm surprised she's still living here, man, because she's by herself and it's a big house with a lot of property, big in-ground screened-in pool in the back, and seems like an awful lot for one lady. I know I've mentioned it, and I'll probably mention it in just about every episode, but this is just a handheld echo blower, man. Nothing fancy. It does what I need it to do. I remember I bought it because something broke on my backpack blower while I was out in the field, and I only had one with me at the time. So I just ran out to the store and bought this thing, and I ended up loving it. But this is going to cut short here in a second, so I'm going to go ahead and say that's that.
Thank you for watching The Lone Lawnman. Please like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring the bell for notifications for when new episodes are uploaded. You can help me create higher quality and more informative videos moving forward by leaving your input in the comments section below. I will read everything. Thanks so much. Take care, everybody.